where the formula are the rules and the one referring to the fact that this is the top tier of motor races. British constructor Arrows never won a race after 393 attempts, the highest of any team in Formula One history. They came close.
Well, good evening to you all. Welcome back. In fact, let me join the party because
Chinese GP was F1's 1000th official championship race. If we continue with around 20 to 24 races a year, we can expect the 2000 GP to happen around the year 2016.
Well, massive apologies about that, ladies and gentlemen, but we're back on live now. Welcome back to Co-Racing League for round number 10 here at the Imola Grand Prix. And Nathan says in the chat, it is a dry race, so no need to worry about inters or wets being used. And it does rain quite often, you know, in league racing. I've seen a lot of wet races so far in league racing around in Imola. It does tend to rain around here, of course, so that's another thing to look out for. But it's nice, dry and sunny here at the Imola Grand Prix, so let's hope we can see some good action then in qualifying and in the race. And both AlphaTauris are currently out there so far. Kvyat, Gary and Tony. I know Tony's been trying to put the practice in as well, as he was complaining a few minutes ago after I think getting blocked by Jeroen in qualifying, which hopefully won't happen here tonight. So on board with the AlphaTauri of Kvyat Gary then, as he makes his way down into the first corner, which is this one, and now into the braking zone of turn number 2 then, breaking the 50-meter board, hitting the apexes through here, 2, 3 and turn 4. Very nicely done indeed, threading the needle, carrying the speed as he needed to. Now into the vertical chicane, flick it through at fast speed. Look at that, look at the lines he's taken as well, just opening up the corner entry as well, which you need to do around here to gain all the lap time you possibly can, fling it through left and right and centre. That was lovely there. The first set to be mighty for Gary. And now we're coming through Piratella, I believe this is. Into this left-hander we go, and validation can be quite key around here too. And now making our way into Aquaminaroli, another stunning corner. It's very easy to drop it uphill through here, which he negotiates really well as we make our way into the Variante outer chicane, where we saw Yuki Tsunoda and I think it was Charles Leclerc back in 2022 who crashed there. And I think Yuki Tsunoda did it in qualifying and Leclerc did it in the race, in the feature, when he was trying to close down Verstappen and ended up dropping backwards. I think into 7th on that day, had to change his front wing too. As he makes his way into the final corner, Kvyat Gary then, we see him coming out of there. Let's see what lap time he can put down. What's it going to be? Oof! A 14.0 as a banker. Wow! I think that's a good lap time, you know, judging what I've seen in other leagues. So that's a great lap time from Gary. Humbalele slots into P2 with a 14.8 as Vapor Shadow next across the line with a 15.6 there for P3. So he'll be desperately hoping to improve on that lap time. Tony's back in the pit lane, and as you can see, he has invalidated on his third run, so not ideal there. As Jeroen across the line now to take pole with a 13.7 then, so it's the 13s then, as Jewel Bream in Relentless slots into P2 there. Jewel Bream making a return as Cameron Dowds in the Haas goes quickest with a 13.5 after finally changing his name. Also, Cameron Dowds last week at Miami was the race winner then. He's raced here in Imola before, if I remember correctly. I think it was a few seasons ago. I can't exactly remember what happened in the race. I think he was fighting for first and he lost at the last lap, didn't he? Because he was first in the DRS, if you remember all those seasons ago, back in 2021 I believe it was. AMS Renz, the Dutchman, is new to Cone, so welcome Renz. He puts his Alfa Romeo into P4 just behind Kvyat Gary. I thought Gary's lap time was great, you know, but blimey, what about the top two there in the 13s? I would love to be on board with them. And as you can see, Cameron Dowds making a mad dash back into the pit lane. It's a very long pit lane around here. ILT Kenny unfortunately has invalidated there in the Red Bull then, so it looks like he also did it on the final corner, because judging by that he's still pushing, so that'll be frustrating there for Kenny. Posh Evans has got a William in his way, but hopefully he gets out of it very shortly. Oh, he spins and he's hit the wall. He's out of qualifying. Oh, Posh Evans there. Oh, it's just a shame, really. Did he get caught out by the Williams dirty air or something like that? It is known to happen, of course. We've seen crashes in the final corner before in league race. It's so easy to drop it there because you get on the throttle immediately after that corner. But sometimes you pick up the throttle way too early, or Bompi's gone wide at Acre Minerale, and luckily for him, it hasn't invalidated him. He has gone wide, but still remains on his lap time then as he makes his way through Varianta Alta chicane. Whether he chooses to back off, which he should do now because that's massive wheel spin as he tried to get on the throttle there in third gear, revving it out. Whether he chooses to continue is up to him or not, but let's see if he does continue or heads off into the pit lane because it won't be a great lap time there for Bompia. So let's see if he dives into the pit lane, which he doesn't do, so he still continues his lap and he puts him into P7. So yeah, that's quite interesting because from P9 downwards, about 10 cars haven't set a lap time. You won't see one of them set a lap time anymore. Josh will be absolutely frustrated with that one. I'm certain of it too, so it's a shame there what happened to Posh Evans there in McLaren. Nathan crossed the line to go P6 for Williams with a 14.4, so quite a bit of a gap between P5 and P6 by 0.3, but I expect these times to be a bit closer because we're still not got other people's lap times on the board, have we? Troy A is back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long time. Well, I say long time. He has raced this season, but it feels like a long time because the season's flown by. Here is Troy A in the house. Then let's see what he could do. I think he likes it around Imola. I have raced him against Imola a few weeks ago or months ago. Same with Chazza. I've raced against him as well in the Mercedes. And close to a podium I was, but unfortunately a bit too far away, chose the wrong strategy. And Troy A has been known in Imola to come to the back of the field, and I think he got on the podium on that day too, if I remember correctly. It was in a different league, of course, so I don't think majority of you will know what I'll talk about, except Chaz, of course, in the Mercedes. But yeah, Troy A, I think he likes it around here, and hopefully he does well. It's a 14.2 for so far, but might not indicate his true pace, probably just to bank his first lap time and see what he can do with 10 minutes left to go in the session. Troya has done a lot of laps around him, and especially with the long qualifying format, he won one of our leagues together too, so he knows what it's like to qualify around here. As Pyro then, on his second attempt, a bit too much curve there through the third corner, I think it was, but still got away with it then. I thought he would be pushed out wide towards turn number 4 as we flick our way into the Villeneuve chicane. It's alright, decent first sector for him, 24.0 for Pyro in P14 there. And I've heard that Pyro hasn't got... Let's have a look at the championship where he is. I didn't even say the championship standings. I was flicking through the results last time round, but for the championship's sake, I heard Nathan say that Cameron Dowles has got more points this season than in one race than Tony has throughout the whole season. So yeah, but obviously Tony's been in his own accidents as well. He dropped off the pace as well because he is on a wheel, so it takes a long time to get used to. But hopefully next season Tony can be back up there because we know he's got a pace for sure, especially early doors in 2023, but obviously he switched to a wheel and hopefully can be more faster on that than he was on pad, as he was in the championship fight with O'Raiden last season. And here is Pyro then making his way towards the line. What's it going to be for AlphaTauri? Goes into P8 there, does Pyro. His teammate actually is on another lap then. Unfortunately, he has invalidated, has QVR Gary then, so his second attempt has invalidated. His first lap was pretty strong, you know, as a first lap indeed, because obviously transferring from a practice session to the actual session. Is George Russell on hards? Yeah, he is. So Russell there, essentially got nothing to lose. Well, he has obviously, but he's got a big margin, so he can do whatever he wants in the next 2 races. He's 53 points ahead of Walter in the championship, so got to make sure he doesn't finish behind Walter, and that should secure him the championship, his first championship here in CRL. And Jules Bream has been demoted to the back then, so both McLarens there have disqualified. Well, one of them's crashed and the other one has disqualified himself. I'm not quite sure where he's disqualified himself, whether it was on purpose or not, but he'll be starting in last place then, or Jules Bream. G. Russell has invalidated, but I don't think he'll care that much because he is on the hard compound tyres. His teammate Chazza in the Mercedes has invalidated too. Unfortunate for him in the Mercedes there. So Chazza, I think it's his 4th appearance now in Cone, as he appeared last race in the Miami Grand Prix, Spanish Grand Prix, and the British GP too. So nice to see Chazza racing around here in Cone and see what the man can do tonight. Luke HD making his way through Peratella, now down into Acqua Minerale. His teammate Pease, last time out, got on the podium at the Miami Grand Prix due to post-race penalties as Russell picked him up, I presume, for crossing the white line at the pit lane, because we did see him cross the white line there. Not quite sure other things he did as well, but it was a fantastic drive regardless there from G. Russell in the Mercedes. And here comes Luke then coming towards the final two corners. Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2. It's so easy to mess up through here because obviously on the course here, like, these tyres will be at the hottest stage. And now we're making our way towards the line for Luke. Yeah, I should have known really. It's not a push lap, but it's still into P11 despite that lap time, because a few others are struggling to get a time on the board, such as IRT Julian. Cameron Dowds is out there. He's coming towards the line now, and let's see if he can improve for the Scotsman. Yes, he can. It's going to be a 13.4 for Cameron Dowds, so extends his margin by almost 3/10, in fact over 3/10 of Jeroen Visser then, so that's a big advantage. I think if I recall correctly, it was either him versus Jeroen or him versus Pease in the last time we came to Imola when Cameron Dowds was racing. So I do remember that Grand Prix. They were fighting over first and second, trading DRS until the last few laps of the race. Then here comes ILT Julian for racing. Ooh, I don't know why I said that. Never said that before. Aston Martin into P7 he goes. Yeah, ever since it became Aston Martin, I've never ever said Racing Point. But IRT Leroy then, a good qualifying for him in P4, 14.0, so that's a really good lap time from him. Obviously qualified high, I think, at the British GP if I remember correctly, and the Canadian Grand Prix too. And in Miami, it didn't look like he went his way either. Did he turn up in Miami? Yeah, he did. No, he didn't. I'm looking at the wrong thing here. I've actually saved the championship standings twice. That's me confusing things with other things there. So let's see who else on the lap time. We've got QVR Gary in the AlphaTauri, sorry. But just excuse me for a second, I am a bit ill tonight, so just bear with me if I do make mistakes as we flick through the Verno chicane. Very nice there for Gary. Obviously we watched his first lap as Nathan goes quicker, and Kenny puts his Red Bull into P3 then, so Kenny showing some monumental pace there for Red Bull. He has been struggling a bit this season, but into P3 he goes behind his teammate F7R Jeroen. And by the way, congratulations for Jeroen Visser to make it to F7R. And hopefully he can help that team as well, because I know his team are in EML, and his team are quite high in the standings too, so keep an eye on F7R. Oh, Gary has it validated again, I think. He did it the second time, didn't he? And now he's done it again. He was improving in the first and middle sector, so what could it have been? And I think he's got enough time to come back in the pit lane. And we'll wait until to see the yellow flag disappears. Yeah, he's got enough time to come in the pit lane, so not over yet for Gary. But keep an eye on him because he's really strong so far. It's just the invalidations that's costing him. Intrigued to see what Russell does, because will he actually start at the back like the rest of them have been doing? Our usual suspects, Jewel Bream, Luke, Sweet Crown, and who else has been doing it? I know Pease has been doing it too. But yeah, Red Bull second and third, they'll be pleased with that. And Cameron Dowds then on his return to PS4 Racing, with his dad in the chat as always supporting his son. Happy to see him in P1. So Sweet Crown hasn't there lap time yet, and neither has Chazza. Have we seen Chazza go on the pit lane? I think we have, you know. Have we? I'm not quite sure. So I wonder if Chazza has got a qualifying ban of some sort, or he's just waiting for the latter stages in qualifying to see what lap time he can do. So we'll wait for Chaz's arrival, see if he does do a qualifying or not down in P17. But if he has got a qualifying ban, well, he starts P17 due to Posh Evans crashing out and Jewel Bream disqualifying himself. So getting 2 places despite not qualifying. And here comes Pyro, then he has been struggling around here at the Imola Grand Prix, 14.7. I wonder what he could do, because he did a lot of practice, or I say he did a lot, in the last hour before the race, or the qualifying started, he was doing a bit of practice there, and he got frustrated by Jeroen Visser getting in his way on one of his last laps before we had to go racing here. So, is this the lap time for Pyro? And let's see if he can promote himself further up the field. And here he is then, the Argentina driver makes his way towards the finish line to start his third flying lap then. And obviously if he makes a mistake or validates, he can always go for that second lap time depending where he is, because if you make a mistake through the Variante Alta chicane, well, you got a lot of ERS saving to do, and your tyres will be hot as well at that stage too, so it'll be quite difficult to save ERS and cool them down. Here we are into Verno chicane. I think he took it better than the last time round we came here with Pyro. 2 tenths up, 2.5 tenths up, so that's a good improvement, but a bit of oversteer on the exit of Torsa there, which might have cost him slightly there. So Bit of oversteer on the exit, too eager, did he take too much curb? I wonder as we come through Piratella. Takes it nicely now through Acro Minerale. Going to be nicely committed through here. And just misses the first part of Acro Minerale, but okay on the exit for him. As we make our way through this middle sector, still 2/10 up. And now Variante Alto, where we're seeing a few people invalidate their lap times, but uses all the curb on the exit there, all the track you can get away with, and that was decent there. So Russell on the hard compound tyres has opted to go for the harder strategy. So I don't know, will he go with the soft compound tyres later on? He's out there on the track right now, and if he pits, he won't have enough time to come back in the pit lane and get a set on. And Pyro puts his AlphaTauri into P9. So it's an improvement for him, but only into P9. Russell out there, yeah, he's committed to start the back, is Russell. 14.7 on the hards. That's an alright lap time, isn't it? 2 steps softer, obviously. 2 steps harder, softer. So, 2 steps harder, sorry. And who's that going off the track? That's Luke there as he tries to overtake Russell. Can't make it back in the pit lane because there's not enough time there, as he almost, well, he did put it in the wall, where we saw, I think, Latifi and who else was it? Nikita Mazepin make contact at the exit of that corner back in 2021 when it was wet conditions and went into dry conditions. Chaz is in the pit lane then, so he doesn't look like he's going to be on the circuit, so it must have been a qualifying ban, or he just wants to start the back, which is fair enough. But majority of people on their outlaps there, ready to go for it at the final stages of qualifying. Who is going to take pole position? Back on board with QVR Gary. We've seen a lot of AlphaTauris, haven't we, in this qualifying session as we make our way into turn 2, 3 and 4. Super committed, carrying the speed he needs to as well. I think he oh, look at Bompia goes into P3, but I wonder, did he upshift into 7th a bit too early in the exit 4? Whether he meant to or not, I'm not quite sure, but he's a few hundreds down in the first sector. That's a decent lap time for Bompia, so desperately needed there in the Ferrari. I think he had a decent qualifying back at Miami too, but now he's in P3 here ahead of Kenny, who's about to start his final flying lap. As we've got a Haas cross the line, that is Cameron Dowds, I believe it is, and Troyer is well in P9. He's about to start his final lap as we ride on board with QVR Gary. Is this an improvement for him in the middle sector? Only just though, and I think this is where he validated last time. You can see he's not. Oh, has Leroy crashed? Yeah, Acro Minerale, he's crashed at the exit there, unfortunately. So he is out of qualifying and will not go further on in this session or boost his positioning. But QVR Gary, he's still committed to taking a lot of curbs despite validating. So that's the confidence he has. Here's QVR Gary then, making his way towards the line. What's he going to be for the AlphaTauri? It's P3 ahead of Bompia. Great lap time indeed from him, and you'd be happy with that one. But we've still got people out there improving. Nathan down the first sector by a few hundreds. Jeroen Visser and Cameron Dowds on their lap times. Jeroen Visser, unfortunately, has invalidated his first lap, and Cameron Dowds in that middle sector has gone purple, indicating he's improving then. But did he go a bit too wide at the exit, I think, of Variante Alto? I'm not quite sure, but however, not a validation, so he'll continue his lap time. Can anybody stop him getting pole position there? The gap's 3/10 as well, so got a comfortable buffer, but he's gone wide out of Ravazza 1 and invalidated 2, and that's his lap time and done and dusted then. But will he care? Depends who puts it on pole or gets ahead of him. Nathan's invalidated. Kenny, can he do anything about it? Almost at 1.5 tenths up in the middle sector. A bit of hesitation there going into chicane, and invalidates 2, so he will not improve. But what about Troyer in P9? What can he do? Oh, he can't do anything because he's invalidated his lap time. Apparently he was 4 tenths up as well. That would have put him into P3 if he didn't invalidate, and he's down into P9 sadly. So there it is then, your results and our usual suspects at the back of the field. We'll see how it goes into the race. I'll go to toilet very quickly before we start the race. the top two from the Miami Grand Prix last week are the top two in qualifying. Will it be another close battle against Jeroen Visser and Cameron Dallard? Need to mention as well Russell and also Sweet Crown. What can they do for the back of the field? Will they show their amazing pace as it's been throughout the whole season? We're about to find out very shortly. I'll say it once again, in fact I won't say it. Here are the lights, so 4, 5 lights. And we are away. Jump start for Luke, and it's an Alpine in the background. It's gone for a spin already. That's the worst. Oh, it's a crash. Is that? That's definitely a restart. I don't think I've checked the Discord. Yeah, it's definitely a restart, so my bad for that one. I didn't even know if there was a problem going on or whatnot, but yeah. Caught me off guard, that did, but we move. I don't really check the Discord during the races, so yeah, I'm not up to speed about everything. But we'll take a short break then before we get the lobby restart going once again. So ladies and gentlemen, it is a lobby restart. I think because of brake boards or something like that, brake markers. I think they've been wiped out or something like that, and they don't reset. I thought they do reset during the race because it's a new session, or did obviously it was a formation lap, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that is it then. We're just having a new restart now, and everybody gets a brand new set of tyres, and even the soft compound tyres, so should mix things up. I'll be back with you very shortly for the second restart of the Imola Grand Prix. Stay tuned for us, we should go racing once again. Cameron's dad, if you're still in the chat, mate, what's your race predictions there? Do you think your son can maintain the lead off Jeroen? Do you think he's got the pace to stay ahead of Jeroen? Let me know your thoughts. He had a good qualifying session, but we don't know what Jeroen could have done, if he improved or not. I think he had more pace in him, but unfortunately could not hold the lap together. So I wonder if he's got better race pace to try and contend with Cameron Dowds. So yeah, so last week then, we were at the Miami Grand Prix, and it was a decent race as well. I think the safety car changed a lot of things in the race. People opted to go for a two-stop strategy from soft. I think Russell was one of them. Same with Walter there. Russell actually closed the gap down. I think about, how much was it? He gained a lot of time in about 9 laps as well. I think he caught up to them, overtook them, but unfortunately had that penalty over his name. Cameron Dowds and Jeroen Vizser went side by side at the final 2 corners. Cameron had better traction and had the DRS off Jeroen as well, being behind the detection point. They got him towards the line, only just though. They were fighting for the lead. I think they both knew, because Jeroen messaged me, I think they both knew about Nathan picking up a penalty towards the end of the race too, so they let him go, and those two had their scrap. And but Cameron Dow's return to league racing has been phenomenal so far. He returned last race, and ever since then he won as well. So let's see what he does here tonight. Maybe he could challenge the top spot next season if he stays full time. I think they'll trade positions to stay ahead of everyone else. Yeah, that's the most smart thing as well. Obviously, in the first half of the race, you don't want to fight too much. You want to just trade positions, use each other's DRS, pull away from the rest as well. You don't want to end up fighting until the middle stint of the medium compound tyres, depending on what they'll go for. The strategy is typically mediums, hards to mediums or mediums to hards. But I think the guys ahead will start on the hard compound tyres unless anything changes, of course. For those who's just joined, it is a lobby restart due to the brake boards. I think brake markers being taken out on someone's point of view. Cameron Dow's took pole position ahead of Jeroen Vizser. Let's see what happens during this race as well. Could be a long race to go with it. QVR Gary got a decent result with P3. I think Gary's best performance this season is P6, I believe it was. His best result of the season as well. He's had strong qualifying, but sometimes they don't always transpire into a good race. I remember in the Spanish Grand Prix, Gary was up there in qualifying, but I think he fell backwards. I'm not quite sure if he chose the wrong strategy or just had an incident there, but at the Canadian Grand Prix he finished in 7th place, so we do see Gary there in about, but when it comes to the race he just tends to struggle just a bit, so hopefully we'll see Gary up there because he's a really good driver too. P7 he's finished twice, the Australian and Canadian Grand Prix as well. I remember he was the one that caused the safety car, the first safety car at the Qatar Grand Prix, which was weeks ago. What was pole? What was it again? A 13.43? I think that Cameron Dow's did that. Yeah, 13.4. No, Cameron, it wasn't a 13.3. It was a 13.4. James, have you ever raced your son on PS4? Who's quicker, you or him? What's been the best race so far this season? That's an interesting question, though. Actually, I don't know. I think the Spanish Grand Prix was a good one. It was wet throughout the whole race, surprisingly. At the Spanish Grand Prix, you don't really see it rain in Spain, but when it does, it pours. And I think the intermediates were on throughout the whole race as well. So that was a decent one. Australia was okay. Suzuka, that was a decent race. I think they've all been good races, in all honesty. But the best one so far for me, I don't know actually. It's a hard one to go by. I enjoyed the British GP. Miami, it was okay. But I don't know. I was going to say Saudi Arabia, but that was last season. Obviously, we've got 12 races this season. Saudi Arabia is not on the calendar this season. Nathan JB was the man that won there in Saudi. I think I always remember the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix because of the incidents we've had there, the safety cars, and Yvu, Visser and Rotation were leading at one point, and then it changed hands towards the others as well. Troy finished in first place, but Nathan was the one that took the victory due to penalties, and Almeida was leading at 1.2, so a lot of things happened in that race. But obviously we've not had it this season, so can't be that one for sure. But it was definitely last season's best race, if me and Scott voted correctly. So Liam Carrag says he built Cameron Dow's setup. So Liam, if you're good at building setups, ooh, it's a nipper tuck one. Nexus Bunnies said he might be my co-commentator. I got a co-commentator, mate. It's going to be Nexus Bunnies. If I can find him, of course, in the Discord server. Oh yeah, that's what I was about to say as well. If you do hear me coughing and sniffing throughout the stream, I do apologise about that. I will mute my mic, so if you're wondering why I'm muting my mic, that's because I'm having a coughing fit, but I should be good. I've done it in the last few races as well, where I've coughed and whatever, but yeah, hopefully it won't happen as much. I am feeling a bit better too, so hopefully that'll keep up. Can't hear Mr. Bunnies. That's because he's not in a party yet, my friend, and hopefully he'll join the party very soon. He has messaged me saying he can co-commentate with me, so I'll be happy if he can. I just hope Nathan invites him, because I don't want to invite him just in case that we go straight to the race, because I can't invite him, as you can see. In fact, yeah, I can actually, but it's the race is about to start, so apologies, Bunnies, I can't invite you now. Here we are for the Imola Grand Prix. Cameron Dow's gets a decent start off the line. He stays ahead of Yvu Visser, but Yvu now tucked in the slipstream. Can he make a lunge or Cameron around the outside? Not fully alongside, and it's very risky indeed if you send it, but let's see what happens then. You can see a bit of a three-wide moment. The Aston Martin's in the wall, and that looks like LT Julian, unfortunately, who's gone for a spin in the wall. So they remain as they are. Sweet Cloud up into P12 then, ahead of Chazza making moves up, but we can see the Williams getting out of shape into the Velo chicane. And now ILT Leroy is side by side with Kenny going into Tulsa. We saw Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya go side by side through there with the famous interview going on there as well. And now coming into Piratella, and looks like a decent first lap so far, not including Julian, unfortunately, down at P19. 3-1 never goes, especially around this circuit. Jewel Beam has got past Hobalele. In the background we see Vapor Shadow sliding his way off the track. He's made contact as well, and off he goes for a spin. I didn't waste so much time not knowing that I could invite him, because I thought you couldn't go on the pause button on the loading screen, but it turns out you can. So when a virtual safety car comes out, I will join the party, because he's in the lobby right now, but I can't join the party. Should I risk it? I don't know what could happen. G. Russell all over the back of Troye, who's had a moment coming out of the final corner there. Let's see if he overtakes him. He has to. He's on the medium compound tyres. The top 10 on the hard compound tyres. Here's Russell. Troye not willing to give up there as he closed the door. But we head into turn 2. Look at the overspeed they got the Alfa Romeo. And unfortunately for Russell, he can't get through. But the Alfa Romeo's gone deep. Troye doing a switchback. That's AMS Renz. Gets a decent run on the Alfa Romeo as we make our way into the Village chicane. And let's see who comes out top. You can see Renz not willing to give up. Goes off the track though. And now Troye is sweeping through. Up into P9 now. Russell might fancy a move up the inside. 2 places, 1 lost there. Oh! They both got the grass together, connecting wheels, and unfortunately Russell will lose a place, 2 places now, to the expense of Sweet Cloud and Jewel Bream. He's trying to push it rival, but I don't think he'll care too much because he is well ahead in the points and the standings of the championship. As long as he don't retire, that's the main thing, and Walton wins both races. And you can see Ren's down as P14. That happened ever since he defended against Troy, got put offline, and hasn't worked out since then. So, lap 2, I'll draw the party quickly. Bloody PS4, taking time. So I have joined Bunny's parties. Make sure your voice to be shared, mate, just in case it isn't, and I can commentate with you live for the action then. Welcome, mate, how you doing?
I am great, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Did you see the qualifying?
I didn't actually. I just got back from class, but it looked like a very entertaining race so far. Lots of action throughout the field.
Yeah, we can see 4 people on the medium compound tyres then, so they'll be looking to gain a huge ground. Oh, Viz already got a penalty at this stage of the race, Bunnies. And Hobalele too.
It's 2 people already on lap 3. That's averaging 1 warning a lap. That is not good for them, especially for the man in second place, Jerome.
Yeah, Yavuni's the closest one towards Cameron in qualifying. They both had a great battle back in Miami. They were 1 and 2. They were second and third on the track due to post-race penalties Russell got towards the end. But now, once again, Cameron versus Yavuni, and Yavuni's gone off the track there once again, Bunnies.
Yeah, so lots of action in the early stages of this race. Track limits can be a little bit difficult at this track as we see Troye getting ahead of Sweet Crown, and now the McLaren battling him as well around the outside. Will he make through? He does. That's an impressive move. Now onto the DRS straight. Track limits, as they're saying though, are a little bit difficult on some places of this track. Min Rally, for example. Down into turn 1, for example, it's not too bad because if you're off track, you're generally on some very dangerous sausage curves or in the gravel. But around several other places, especially in the middle section of the track limits can be very dangerous.
Very brutal around this circuit, and on the lap we see Pyro get a penalty. Just talking about penalties as well. Leroy overtook Kenny, Sweet Crown overtook Jewel Bream, Pyro lost 2 places I think, Russell's up into P11 ahead of Troye, and that's on my side because I had the party audio low because I was watching a YouTube video before I joined the party, so that's on my end, so apologies buddies, they can't hear you but I think it's on my end. I'll get a chance to turn you up now. Oh! I saw somebody spin.
Pyro. Vapor Shadow will be gaining a lot from this. He had fallen a little ways behind at his safety car, and we'll see. I wouldn't think any of the drivers will pit quite yet. It's just early to be pitting onto hards, and the only people that could do that on strategy anyways would be the medium runners. Actually, as I said, that Jerome goes in the pits. So does Kenny. So the Red Bulls are going to double stack here. Kenny getting held up ever so slightly, and Sweet Crown into the pits as well. Actually, a lot of people in the pits. I'm not going to be able to name every single one, but yeah. So lots of chaos already.
I was a bit. I saw that crash happening. Jewel Bream's retired in the pit lane, it seems, so he's out once again, like he was back in Miami. But I wish I never adjusted the audio because, well, I wish I did earlier on, but obviously he joined late and yeah, we can't really do anything about it now. We missed the 3 crash because I saw somebody spinning into Acura Minerali, then I went on the home screen so I couldn't really see what happened. When I came back I saw 3 cars stranded on the outside, so did you see it?
Yeah, so the McLaren just spun in the second half of the Aqua Minerali, got stranded right in the middle of the track, and obviously that's a corner you try to carry as much speed as you can through, and especially the exit is so important as it does lead on to one of the only overtaking zones on the track, although admittedly a very difficult overtaking zone, but an overtaking zone nonetheless. So everybody was just chucking it in and out of Aqua Minerali, and there's really no room for adjustment when you're going through there. And unfortunately, that meant that about 3 or 4 drivers ran straight into the stranded McLaren, and that was that for several drivers. It's Pyro out on the spot. Luke and the other McLarens, of course, also ending up out of the race as a result. But yeah, we get here now with 4 DNFs in 1 lap from the looks of it. Although one of them in the pits, and that is Jerome in the pits again for Red Bull. So that's the 2nd time in 2 laps. Probably not happy with those softs. I wonder if he had gotten damage and wanted to get rid of them.
Do you know what I think he's done? I don't know how good he is at saving tyres, but has he gone hard, soft, hard? Because I thought he used those soft compound tyres as a short stint to try and get up the places, because obviously the guys ahead have to pit as well. Then he could use those softs to his advantage to try and pull a big gap on them before they have to make their pit stop as well. But he's back on the hard compound tyres he started on, and that there is the main thing. Did he mean to go to the soft compound tyres, or did he want to go on the mediums in his 2nd stint? But interestingly, he's dropped from P7 to P14 then on the hard compound tyres. In fact, he might have chosen the harder strategy, because it says he's done 0 laps on the hards. He did start on the hard compound tyres if I remember correctly, so he might have 2 sets of hards at his disposal.
Yeah, I think that would be the case, because, yeah, you are right. It says 0 laps on those hards, and he definitely did start on the hards. The highest up driver that wasn't on hards was Sweet Crown, who of course now is on hards. A lot more variety in the strategy now. We've got 5 drivers not on hards, but among them that's split 3 and 2 for mediums and softs. The strategy will be a very interesting aspect in this race, I would imagine.
Theoretically, Jeroen Visser does not need to pit again. He can take those hards to the end if he's got the tyre life and grip as well towards the end too. So let's see if his pace in P14, and Cameron Dow says can't see them lasting though. We've seen miracles happen. I remember saying at the Australian Grand Prix, the mediums can't go towards the end, and guess what, they did, and it was a mighty stretch on those mediums too for the Australian Grand Prix there. So let's see if it happens, but obviously Jeroen's gone for a 2-stop now, and the rest of them, we'll see how it happens. Will the medium runners benefit later on and catch Jeroen towards the end of the race as well? We'll see. But let's see the safety car restart. Cameron Dowes will take him away. QVR Gary in P2, Bompierre in P3. This will be a great drive from him as well. I know he struggled in the last few races. A bit twitchy from the Alpine coming out the final corner, which was ILT Leroy then. So no DRS will be enabled for the next 2 laps. Humbalele then. Let's have a look at him in P7, being spotted by Sweet Crown and Kenny. Let's see how it folds into turn number 2. Sweet Crown might take on Humbalele into turn 2. We go. Later, please, big contact, and he spins. Yeah, he spun, and did he? Oh, someone else gone off the track. Is that Russell? Is that Russell? Yeah, it is.
That's Russell.
Wow, he's gone for a spin. So that's our championship leader into turn number 3. Look at this battle. Jeroen Visser going down the inside of Torsa, and let's see if he gets ahead. Pushes Julian out wide onto the curve there. Doesn't allow him to get the traction. Now Troye will take advantage of that. Aston Martin moves himself up into P12 then. So G Russell, he knows he doesn't have to win. He's got a lot of leeway ahead of Walter there. He just needs to score in the points. That's it to win the championship. So not under huge pressure. But if Sweet Crowds win these next 2 races and Russell's out of points, then who knows? But Cameron Dowes leads, and he's got a 1.5 second gap already, Bunnies, which is very important out of the DRS.
Yep, 1 second gap is the DRS gap. So Cameron already being 150% out of that. 1.5 seconds ahead of the car behind is huge, and it's well before the first chance of DRS, so he has more time to build up that gap. And crucially also, Gary isn't out of DRS of the Ferrari behind, so for Gary, he'll have a swarm of cars right behind him and won't have any DRS to help him defend.
And look at this battle into turn number 4. I think Chaz has had a problem putting out turn number 4, got on the curb a bit too much. Sweet Khan has been let go. IRT Kenny goes around the outside. Chaz has backed out of that one, knowing there could have been made contact there. So he's down into P7 or 8, unfortunately. Now make it 9. Yeah, Renz took advantage of that too, so he goes up the inside on those mediums, so you expect it to be quicker now on the medium compound tyres. Those meds can't go towards the end, but I suspect they have a brand new set of mediums in their disposal to go for it again on the 2-stop strategy. So they opted to go for
Vapor Shadow. Vapor Shadow putting a lot of pressure on Jerome here, but also getting himself a penalty. Speaking of Jerome, he's going to challenge Shazza now. doesn't quite have an opportunity coming up into the chicane. You can see the two behind him battling a little bit. Has a look as Vapor Shadow goes wide and spins.
Well, I think CPI Troy tagged the back of Vapor Shadow, put him offline, and off into the runoff area went, then lit up the rear tyres on the dirty air or dirty side of the track. Camera Dowd in the pit lane.
People in front and behind of him all pitting. Sweet Crown stays out as well, so does Kenny and Renz. So that is our 4 drivers seem to be. Oh, Jerome stays out as well. So we've got that's our top 5, but so many of the front running drivers pit. Our previous race leader before the safety car, Cameron Dow's, pits onto mediums from the looks of things, although my camera view is completely messed up, so I can't really tell. There we go. Yep, he is on mediums.
Wow, so we've only got 13 left, so 6 of them have gone already in this race. So chaotic opening race this is. We had a lobby restart due to a marker board, and some people are not happy about that whatsoever. So we should be further to the race than we are right now. But with 2 safety cars in this session, it's definitely slowing things down. So let's see if Russell pits. No, he can't because he is still out there on the soft compound tyres, so I thought he would have gone into the mediums. But yeah, different strategies going on throughout the field, and you're even there in P5, but he's got guys behind him on medium compound tyres. So safety car is benefiting people and disadvantaging people at the same time with different strategies throughout the whole field. So we'll see what strategy is better. 23 laps on those medium compound tyres just due to the also with the deficit with the safety car too, with reduced laps. I wonder can they go towards the end, we'll see. But yeah, definitely change of trajectory during this race as well. Sweet Crown from the back of the field, I think he's made a pit stop, which he has done, but can he go towards the end on those hard compound tyres or maybe pit onto the mediums, we shall see. So P17 to P2 already for Sweet Crown, they're just staying out of trouble, and this is definitely benefiting him in this race so far. Kenny in P3, we've seen a few people pit down as P8, and Cameron Dow's into P6. Humbalele, the only man who hasn't pitted, and he's down to P10, so yeah, you can definitely tell a lot of things have gone on in this race.
Yep, only on lap 9 out of 32, so we're not even a third of the way through this race. There's a long way to go. Only 3 drivers now after Nathan speeds in the pit lane, so that could be very detrimental to his race. 3 drivers have penalties, 3 seconds for Humbalele, 5 seconds for Nathan, and 6 seconds for Jerome. So, not many drivers with penalties, but those who don't will benefit greatly from those drivers who do.
Yeah, so Nathan there, if he does pit again, he's on the medium compound tyres, so 22 laps left to go in this race. LT Leroy has pitted too, so we've definitely seen the timing sheets going up and down all the time due to these safety cars and pit stops changing everything and people on different strategies. QVR Gary and Humbalele, the only drivers who haven't pitted so far, so staying out on their tyres they started on and doing the optional strategy from hards to medium. We'll see if it pays dividends later on. They've got the track position of course, but the guys behind on better tyres as well and on the mediums too, so, and also guys behind them on mediums and hards, so definitely a mixed up in strategies there. Let's see if those guys who were in first and second and third before can make their way through the field on those fresher tyres. But bearing in mind though, it is quite a risk to make your way through the field because on newer tyres you've got to watch out for the guys on older ones too, especially in the corners, the high speed corners, because you're carrying a lot more grip than the rest of them, and therefore it's so easy to make contact with them as well on guys on older tyres. So we've seen it before in the past where people have made contact with each other on different tyres. But the safety car is coming to the end on this lap, a bit more dramatic than I expected really at the Imola Grand Prix. I wasn't expecting too much chaos around here, but we saw 3 cars out at Acque Minerale. Buddy saw it. I just saw 1 car spin out, then all of a sudden I came back and I saw 3 of them gone. So safety car is at the end of this lap.
Yep, so safety car going into the pit lane now. Gary can go whenever he feels is right. He'll want to catch out Sweet Crown.
Definitely, mate.
Out of the last corner, maybe. It looks like he stomped on it. He gets going. A little bit twitchy. Oh, there's a huge gap between 5th and 6th there.
Yeah, gap's 1.8 behind FER Yeroon, so they got a second train already on the safety car restart, but FER Yeroon is putting pressure on Renz ahead of him, but none of them make a close look, well, none of them are close enough to make a lunge into turn 2. Russell, oh, he spins through turn 1! Is he out of the Grand Prix? No, he stays there, he doesn't make contact with the wall, so just lost the rear end plainly there. Yeroon is quite close behind Renz, you know, let's keep an eye on that. Oh, he almost lost it coming out of the Verno chicane, and remains in P4 then, and Nathan's got ahead of Humbalele. Yeroon tried the move, but he was too far back on that occasion. 2 LPs squabbling of Leroy and Humbalele. Looks like Leroy wins out of that one. Humbalele there, still on the old tyres of course, so I don't think expect him to win out of that battle on older tyres, but yeah, there's a big gap already, but can they close that gap down? Because bear in mind, Cameron Dow's on fresher tyres than the rest of them ahead. Yeroon Visser has got a decent exit going side by side with his fellow Dutchman. Lays the brakes into the variant outer chicane and gets him into P4.
Yep, so that Red Bull getting through into P4. Next target for him is his teammate Kenny. We'll see if Jerome can get onto the podium. Jerome, of course, sitting in third in the championship coming into this round. A long distance between and Sweet Crown for second. Significant gaps actually throughout that top 3, but not inconquerable gaps. We'll see what Jerome can do in the next few laps to try and bring down that gap to the top 2.
Yeah, there's 2 races left to go, this one and the next one, so I think P3 is his best chance there. I'm not quite sure how much points he's got ahead of P4, because I did check the championship standings, but my memory is so shocking, so I actually forgot it already. So I'll have a look at
11.
that. You say 11?
Yep.
Yeah, so this would be big points for Yeroon Visser in the championship. You can see there his Red Bull teammate Kenny's best result. Kenny this season has been P4. Best result overall, I think, was P3 on 2 occasions. I definitely remember one of them at the Hungarian Grand Prix last season when he was defending for a podium against Nathan there. Heading into Akamenorali, he's brought the gap down. Cameron Dow is actually overtaking Reds now on the track then, so the gap was over 2 seconds, brought it down immediately. Benefited from those being compound tyres. In the background I heard something, and Gary's fallen down. Gary has fallen down the order, has spun, and unfortunately for that, wait, what's going on here? Are we lagging out?
Migrating. Has said migrating host. It looks like the Ferrari has lagged out of the race possibly. I'm not entirely sure. Sweet Crown is his teammate. Actually, speaking of which, Sweet Crown around the outside of Gary. He takes the lead into turn 1 and 2. Through the chicane of Tamburello, Kenny is going to have an opportunity on Gary now. Can't quite make anything yet, so he's going to have to wait until a better overtaking opportunity. And what are you seeing right now? It sounded like you thought something had happened with lagging out.
Yeah, so Gary and Renz spun. No, they didn't, because they're still in P2 and P6. Yeroon Visser has overtaken Kenny. Oh, there's contact with the AlphaTauri, they both spun! And he gets tagged again!
As well.
That's big crash there, safety car, virtual safety car has been deployed. Yeroon Visser, like I said, carrying more speed, he's got more grip than the AlphaTauri on all the tyres. And Gary's been wiped out into, I think, Peritello we went. Oh, that's going to be a big one towards the end of the race as well. I can see that how it's unfolding in the stewards. It's caused a big crash. Gary is out of this race. He hasn't pitted yet, and unfortunately suffered there with Yeroon Visser taking a bit too much speed through the corners. I don't think Yeroon anticipated it. I think he expected him to carry more speed, but obviously he's on older tyres, so he didn't really have the grip to do it. But yeah, it's cost Yeroon too. He got tagged twice, so I'm not quite sure the person who actually tagged him on the second time has got wing damage. We're about to find out. Bompierre is the man who left, which caused the lags and glitches that we had earlier on as well. So what I saw on my screen, those guys are pitted now. What I saw on my screen, Bud, is that Gary and Renz spun. But when we resynced, they were back into the normal positions they were. So thankfully, it got sorted out very quickly.
Although, unfortunately, Gary has dropped down the order now, having lost a wheel. So that coming back up to first on your screen didn't last too long. Now, instead, we've got our Sweet Crown as Jerome retires in the pits. So only 11 drivers left in the race. It's been a race of attrition already, and we're only on lap 14 out of 32. More than half the race left to go. We'll see if more drivers can survive that half. Obviously, with less drivers in the race, there's less people to make contact with. but it's a dangerous situation so far. And our VSC is over. It has been for a few corners now. Sweet Crown running away from Reynolds as best he can. There is still a yellow flag in Sector 1. That is Rome's car going to find somewhere to park, as Humbalele gets a penalty. So our top 3 is miles ahead of Chester. Yeah, Ren's nearly spinning there. That was massive. It's an impressive save there from the Alfa Romeo driver. Won't quite give an opportunity to the Aston Martin behind of Julian. Julian will surely be hoping to catch up a little bit. It's actually looking more like Renz will be trying to get ahead of Sweet Crown here. He is within the DRS range, as is Julian, but only just barely. So we'll see if he can maintain that throughout the next few laps.
Cameron Dowes won't be happy with this one. He wants to dispose Russell immediately, then late braking into turn number 2. I don't know if you saw what I saw, but those two slowed down at the final 2 corners. Do you know why? Because of the DRS. Look at Russell. He's losing grip on those soft compound tyres and nothing to respond with whatsoever. Down into P9 is Russell. He needs to stay in this race, of course, due to the championship sake. He can't give Walter 30 points. Obviously, if Walter does win or not, I'm not quite sure. He can take those hard compound tyres to the end, I think. But what about Cameron Dowles making his way back through the field then? He's pitted onto a brand new set of medium compound tyres, would be flying at this stage of the Grand Prix 2. Lost a lot of time due to that, slowing down into the final 2 corners to get DRS. IRT Julian then, someone we haven't mentioned for a while. I don't think I mentioned him at all. So he's all over the back of Renz then. He was the one that wanted a safety car a restart, I think. And here comes Renz and Julian. Then the 2 Dutchmen go side by side. It's a Dutch 1, 2, 3 so far, with Julian up into P2 then with DRS at ease. And now on the podium then. So let's see if he can try and score his first podium of the season, because it's been a long time coming for Julian. He's got some pace, but unfortunately he's been unlucky. Bompia has not joined the session. He's had his P6, and Cameron Dowles sets the fastest lap of this race. And Bompia says, can you try invite me back, please? Bunnies, can you try and invite me back, please, if you don't mind?
I can do that.
Cheers for that. Look at this. Julian's all over the back of Wilder then. And let's see the tyre difference, because I'm struggling to find the graphics. There we are. So Julian's got fresher tyres than Wilder, but what about towards the end of the race? Will it bite him back towards the end of the race once his mediums start going then? So he needs to overtake Sweet Crown immediately against the hard runner and trying to pull away as much as he can while he's got the tyre life. And let's see then if he can do it on the next straight. Julian's got some decent pace so far in the Aston Martin. I wasn't expecting 11 drivers to be in this, I wasn't expecting 11 runners towards the end of the finish, and hopefully the 11 stays. Kenny has overtaken Russell then, still on those soft compound tyres. He's dropping like a stone, but I don't think he cares that much. As long as he finishes in the points in the last 2 races, he should win the championship. And now we've got IRT Julian then with DRS on the back of the Ferrari driver. Should be an easy overtake with the power of the DRS and being so close. And now he's back up into P1 ahead of the Ferrari driver of Sweet Crown. As Cameron Dowles has overtaken Bompia. He wasn't an obstacle, so a very easy pickings there for Cameron's down on his charge. He's got 15 laps to go. Can he close down the gap to the top 4, I wonder?
Yeah, I have sent an invite to Bompia now. A little bit confusing the way I had to add him to invite him. Of course, the invite system in this game is a little bit more complicated than the previous games, and it can be quite frustrating. But he can rejoin the lobby now as Leroy gets through the ghosted car of him. So losing more and more time. Hopefully he will rejoin the lobby soon.
Humbalele made a mistake coming through the vertical chicane. Giroud's left the session, unfortunately for him, and Gary too. Gary was frustrated with that one being up there quite high. I was talking about his recent run of bad luck so far. It continues then here in Imola, and this time retires. I think he where did he finish last time? I actually can't remember. I don't think he was here in Miami. Humbalele's gone for a spin or half spin as his teammate ILT Leroy taps the back of him, and Humbalele down his P7. He hasn't pitted yet during this race either, so we wait a pit stop for him. It looks like he's struggling on those hard compound tyres, just rear locking the brakes. So Cameron Dowles then up into P5. What's the gap to the leader? 17.6 seconds, 12 laps to go. More than 12 laps to go, sorry. There's 14 laps to go. Has he got the pace to try and claw them down?
Yeah, we will wait to see that. Meanwhile, that top 3, they really are a fair distance ahead of Chasa. and an even larger distance ahead of Cameron Dowes. We'll see if he can catch them.
In Tier 4 we had 12 runners. I think we have more finishers now than the Tier 1 because we had 19, and obviously, oh, Nathan's got past Bompier. He moves himself up into P. Hey, Bompier, is he back? No, he's not. He's still lagged out in that Ferrari, unfortunately, being a ghosted car, so he needs to join immediately before he falls down into the last place. But yeah, his internet's not helped him whatsoever. He even messed up the stream a bit, messed up the ordering positions, because it said that Renz and Gary spun, but they didn't. It was just the internet connection just sorted itself out and resyncing them back. And Kenny now up into P9 ahead of the Dutchman. Bompier was running in a good position before he disconnected, but unfortunately will fall to the back of the field. That's his recent bad run as well. And Kenny picks up a 3-second time penalty as Sweetcar then still sticking on the back of Julian. So Julian is not able to pull away in front there. So the DRS is helping Wild to stay in contention of the Aston Martin ahead of him.
Yeah, that said, though, Renz has fallen out of DRS range by a substantial margin, nearly 2 seconds, now 2 seconds behind Sweetground, though he will hope not to fall into the clutches of Chaza in that Mercedes in fourth, as Humbelele taking a pit stop into the mediums, and yeah, that top two is definitely pulling away now, so I'd say that's probably what Sweetground would want. He's going to want to finish as high up as he can. He's sitting second in the championship.
I see Julian spun.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he spun coming out of Aqua Minerale, unfortunately dropped it on top of the hill, and now he's given the race lead towards Sweetground. That's a shame there for ILT Julian, trying to go for his first race win and podium of the season. Still probably on course for a podium, depending if he's got the pace then. He did pull a gap towards Chaza. Chaza is up into P3 in that Mercedes then. Can he remain there? Has ILT Julian got damage? Looks like his front wing is still intact despite making contact with the wall with it. So let's see if Julian dies in the pit lane or not. No, he doesn't, so I think he's alright for the time being. He's 3.3 behind Chaza, so the work is not done yet for Chaza. He's still got Julian right behind him. Also, Cameron Dowes is hunting them down too, so it's another thing to worry about. Cameron Dowes being on the charge. The fastest driver on the track so far is the Scotsman, trying to go for a win on those fresher mediums with 12 laps to go. What did I mention the gap was before? It was now 14.3, so I actually can't remember what I said beforehand, but he's definitely closing down.
Yeah, and of course, I'm looking at the track map, and fighting for the championship is Russell and Sweetground, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and rather embarrassingly for Russell, I'd imagine, Sweetground is not that far away from lapping him. If Russell keeps up some decent pace for the last 12 laps of this race, he can avoid being lapped. But any mistake, and he will be falling into the clutches of his championship contender, his rival, for this season. And that would certainly be a disappointing result at Imola. I think it will already be a disappointing result for the Mercedes driver, but this is absolute perfection for Sweetground. He's in first, his championship rivals in last. All of the drivers still in the race. It's 11th, as Renz actually throws his Alfa Romeo into the pit lane, so clearly deciding that he can't go the rest of the race on those mediums. We'll see what he chooses to put it onto. Looks like a set of softs for the Alfa Romeo, as Julian is back into the podium positions. We'll see, actually, if he chooses to pit as well. I'm taking a look now at how long they've had these tires on cars. He has been on those mediums for 12 laps, so they will be looking pretty worn now, and they'll be looking even worse towards the end of the race.
Yeah, Renz had his tyres on for a long time, much more than Julian. I think it was 17 laps. So yeah, it was 16, 17 laps. So another 12 definitely couldn't have gone to the end on those medium compound tyres. On a brand new set of softs is AMS Renz. It was all about choosing the right strategy at the right time, but it's easier said than done, of course. You don't really know. You can't. Oh yeah, because I'm ill, I can't even think of the words I want to say, so apologies about that. You can't anticipate when a safety car comes out, that's the word I'm looking for. You can't anticipate it, you don't know when it's going to come out. You just got to hope it's the right time for you once you make the pit stops. Obviously, when the first safety car comes out, you think, oh, lap 6, do I pit? No, because I've got track position, but you never know with second or third safety car coming out. That's the main problem. It's just that the contact is quite high around here. It's very easy to spin out around here and make contact too, so...
As Cameron's going to have an excellent opportunity on Julian here. He's already alongside and through before they're really fully into the DRS zone. And that is Cameron back into the podium. Leroy picking up a penalty as we see this, but the Haas driver is thoroughly through on the Aston Martin of Julian. Cameron will be very happy with that. He's now at the third, and he has to try and chase down Chazza for a second. On fresher mediums, compared to the older hards of Chazza, and in turn Sweet Crown up further up the field, we'll see how that goes for the Haas driver, but also we do need to consider, will he be able to bring those mediums to the end of the race? 18 laps on a set of mediums will really hurt towards the end. And even if he can drive that car, we'll see if a puncture could even play a part in the race if he tries to push it all the way to the end.
Could be nip and tuck though towards the end. I think his the peak performance, those tires will be gone. But does he have enough life in him to try and hunt them down? So, Bunnies, I think I said the gap was 40. You can see Yuli in the background going off there at the very end of outer chicane. I said the gap was 14 seconds between Cameron Dowds and Sweet Crown as Humberley's got past Bompy. I don't know if he's back in the session. Yeah, no, he's not. That's the wrong Ferrari, sorry. No, he's not in the session. So, his internet has said goodbye for the night, or wherever you are in the world. Obviously, the afternoon for Bunnies as he's in Canada. But the gap was 14 seconds at one point. Now it's 9.7. He's gained a huge amount of time on Sweet Crown. Now, with about 10 laps to go in this race, do you think he could close a 9.6 second gap down, surely, after all that pace?
I would imagine so, especially considering Sweet Crown's hards will only be getting worse. I think that 18 laps compared to 9 laps, the mediums will be really rough at the end. So catching is one thing, but for Cameron, especially in the dying mediums, overtaking will be a completely different thing. We'll see both of those compounds will be absolutely thrashed by the end of the race. We'll see if Cameron can make a move. I think he can definitely catch up, though. The Ferrari is going to be a sitting down on those hards. It's just whether or not Cameron will still have something in the barrel to get that back.
So, the target ahead of him is CPI Chazza. In the background, somebody's gone for a spin, I think. That is Nathan, who's lost his wing, I think. I just saw coming out of the top of Aqua Minerale. Has he lost his wing? Yes, he has then. So he's gone for a spin. Not the first or last driver that'll do that. It's such an easy place to lose uphill. But here we are for P2. Chazza versus Cameron. I think it was easy pickings for the Scotsman on Chazza there. Nothing Chazza can do about it. Just let him go and see if he can remain on the podium. That's his target for tonight, is CPI Chazza in his fourth race here for Cone, as he made an appearance back at the Spanish Grand Prix with his teammate being Sahilo at one point, but Sahilo's gone now, unfortunately. It would be nice to see what he could have done if he was still here or not, but I think he's lost motivation for racing. And Cameron Downs, and the gap is 7.3 between himself, as Kenny and Renz had their fight for P6, and Renz there disposing the finishman and moving himself up into P6. The next target is Leroy, just a few seconds up the road. Let's see if he can get it, which he should do on those soft compound tyres, but the gap is 7 seconds then between Walter and Cameron Dowds.
Yep. Yeah, it is a increasingly small gap. Those mediums really paying dividends for the Haas driver as he chases down the Ferrari. We'll see if he can catch that in the end, but look how much he's gaining. It's hand over fist in terms of the gap going down. He's gained about half a second almost since we last mentioned the gap only a few seconds ago. He is flying on those mediums. We'll see if Sweet Crown can really answer with anything, but it's going to be really difficult. 20-lap-old hards are not particularly enjoyable to drive on, so we'll see what he can manage. They do have a lapped car between them, but being Bumpia, it is just a ghost, so no issue there. If anything, an advantage, as it's a potential for DRS on one lap, as Humbalele getting another 3-second time penalty. We'll see in I'm gonna check. So Humbalele has 18 seconds of time penalty, so that will not that will not benefit him come the end of the race. I would be concerned about Russell getting ahead of him, but Russell has 11 seconds of time penalties, so Nathan will benefit from that. I can't really say I think anyone else will, though. As the highest up driver with a penalty is Chaza. He has a 3-second time penalty, so Julian will be doing his best to catch up. He's 4.1 seconds behind him at the moment, so 1.1 seconds in the next 7 or so laps. That's all he needs. But it's both drivers are very quick. It won't be easy to gain that, as Renz is less than a second off of Leroy now. We'll see if he can pull any overtake here.
I bet
those soft compound tires.
I bet Julian wish he never Aquaman or Raleigh because he's lost a podium chance, and seeing Chaza pick up a 3-second time penalty, he'll be doing his absolute best. You can see Renz all over the back of the Alpine, and he doesn't send it into turn 2. That was a bit too far away to make a lunge. You can see him struggling himself. He's got a penalty, a 3-second time penalty for Renz then, as he struggled coming out of turn 2 and turn 3, just with the trying to put the throttle down as well, the rear end of the car stepping out, so shot himself there and stays behind in Alpine for another lap. But yeah, ILT Julian, being on those older medium compound tyres, those hards and Chaza should be better than ILT Julian's mediums then, so I don't think Julian could close down the gap unless obviously if Chaza makes mistakes. So Chaza there just needs to keep the gap over 3 seconds like I did to him at the Austrian Grand Prix, which you obviously don't want me to mention, but it's all for the games really. So Chaza there knows what it's like to try and get below or ahead of 3 seconds, because I've done it to him so far, so he'll be wishing to do it on another driver, and he's got that 1.5 second margin. As you can see, ILT Leroy's gone off the track. Will open up the door for Renz now, going side by side with him into Ravazza 1. But interesting, let's see who backs out of this. No one does, because I thought one of them would back out with the DRS.
There's a bit of contact there, actually. Hopefully Leroy won't pick up any damage from that. Leroy doesn't actually get the DRS. It doesn't look like either of them have. So they must have gone over the DRS detections on the really side, but Leroy's going to go around the outside. Can he make a move into the chicane? He thinks better of it. Either that or Renz just breaks that much later. Renz, I would say, is cleanly through. If he can build up a little bit of a gap on those softs through the next chunk of corners, he should be safe from the Alpine behind. And we'll probably at that point be looking at 4th position. Although, with that time penalty, it will be difficult to gain any further positions.
So the gap between himself and Chaza is about 10 seconds, Renz and Chaza, so a bit too much there, and he's got himself a 3-second time penalty too, so I think Chaza secured in P3 because he's actually pulling the gap now over Julian. The gap is 5.4 between himself and Julian then, so as long as you don't pick up another penalty, those Chaza should be safe, and obviously his tyres will be better towards the end as well. There's a yellow flag in turn number, that's the Vono chicane, and it looks like it was Russell. No, it wasn't Russell. It was...
I believe it's Imola, actually, who I would like to mention has 21 seconds of time penalties. Do you know how many it takes to get disqualified? Because I'd be concerned about that happening soon. As speaking of which, his Alpine teammate making a move on Kenny. I think he must have been overtaken very briefly by Kenny, so he's more maintaining the position. But these two battling hard. Kenny goes round the outside, can't make a move. Leroy defends on the inside into that first chicane. Leroy spins into the wall, and he's lost a wheel.
Virtual safety car has been deployed. So what happened at Ravazza 1? I went on board with Leroy. He lost a load of time behind Renz. He had DRS to the straight, so he was behind Renz on the detection point under a second. So something happened to Ravazza 1. What was it? It was quite strange coming out of Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2. Allowed him to have the DRS to re-overtake Kenny, then lost the car at the exit of turn number 3 and hit the wall. So it's a virtual. It's not enough for Wild to pit. He would have wished for a safety car, but yeah, I don't think there's not enough laps anyways left to go in this race. So yeah, it's not a safety car, it's a virtual. He won't pit this lap because that will be the wrong thing to do, obviously, and he'll stay out there. Luckily, it helps him a little bit because Cameron Dow's not able to push no more, and yeah, just try and reduce the chances that Cameron Dow's has. And now we can get racing again very shortly, but just to make sure we're under the virtual safety car Delta 2. It should be going right about now. You can see Wild to go flat out already, trying to get ahead of the virtual safety car when it does come in. But the longer it stays out, obviously the better for Wilder, but it's not going to stay out for long because it is a virtual, so we'll just wait for it to go and we can get racing once again.
Yeah, and this virtual safety car will be huge as VSC is in, but that will have been huge for all of that top four, all of them trying to save their tires, all of them 15 or more laps already on those tires. It is a really rough race for all of them, as Humbelele picking up another time penalty.
And you can see there are only 9 drivers left in this race if you exclude Bompier, who's left the session. So if Bompier still comes back, you'll see his AI and P10 score some decent points though in Ferrari. So if I don't think he tried to draw back, but he can't. He's the lobby host, sorry. So you can see Walter there struggling just a bit through Variant to Alta. He knows the inevitable coming. You can see he's got a lot of ERS in store, but will it be useful against Cameron Dowes, who's on a big charge here with those medium compound tyres?
2 seconds now.
Yeah, it is indeed. We've got 3 laps left to go of the Imola Grand Prix. The gap keeps falling and falling. Nothing that Walter can do about it. He just hopes that Cameron Dow picks up a penalty or something, but she won't do. And as we head on to lap 30, the gap is 1.6 then. So 6 more turns is a DRS range, and let's see if he gets them on the next lap.
Yeah, and of course Sweet Crown doing an intelligent strategy here. He's saving up the ERS. I suspect he knows that a battle is inevitable, but if he has more ERS, which at the moment he does by about 30%, he should be safe down the straight. He can use that overtake whenever he needs to have that little boost of energy. It's still not going to be enough to be faster than Cameron down the straight if Cameron has DRS, which he will do on the next lap from the looks of things. He's almost within a second. And he hits that second marker is in.
All Sweet Crown could do really is just defend on the straight with the ERS, but you can see the amount of corner speed of the grip Cameron has on these corners then. So even he can't overtake him on the DRS zone, he might do it in the corners, so we'll see. But he should have him at ease if he gets a decent exit out of Ravazza 1 and Ravazza 2 if he gets close enough, which he should do with those grippier, well I say grippier, the lesser age of the medium compound tyres against the hards. Those medium should be falling off the cliff now, it seems, but Cameron Dow's still got some decent pace on those medium compound tyres. He's right behind, and this should be an easy overtake into turn number 2. Nothing Walter can do about it. He's just got to accept the inevitable. I presume he's going to use all his battery down the straight, but after that, that's all he can do. Unless he's got better straight line speed. Cameron Dow's has the DRS on the Ferraris to go side by side, and that's all Sweet Cloud could really do unless he goes down the inside into 2, which he can't do. Cameron Dow's has the corner. Sweet Cloud goes out wide in turn 3 and 4, and he takes the lead of this race. What a great drive from Cameron Dow's as well. Pitton under that second or third safety car, and it's definitely helped in his way as well with his brand new set of mediums in comparison to everybody else, and taking the lead with the penultimate lap as well, so he left it really late.
Yep, so that is a new race leader. Cameron Dow's, he looked set to win. He just has to avoid picking up a penalty. He's already broken the DRS gap to Sweet Crown behind, so the Ferrari driver dropping back very quickly. Of course, he did go wide when he was trying to fight back for that position and to turn into that first chicane. So no surprise he's lost a bit of time, but he's lost a lot more than he'd like. I'm sure he would like to be in DRS at the moment, so he has a chance to fight back, but there's nothing he can do for the moment. He's 1.3 seconds off of Cameron. Chaza in third behind, 8 seconds off, so I'd say regardless of what happens between Cameron and Sweet Crown is comfortably in second. He should be safe there. As we can also see Humpelele in the background, he has put on softs recently, so we'll be going for a fastest lap push, I would imagine, starting with this lap.
AMS Renz is right behind RRT Julian, so he's caught up to the back of him, and here we are then on the straight, but he needs to pull out a 3-second gap over the ART driver of Julian if he wants to stay in P4. And he squeezes him to the left hand side. He goes on the grass, but he should get this overtake done. Let's see if he can try and make the breaker zone, not go out wide into turn 2, which he doesn't do. And he gets P4 off the Aston Martin, because a bit of debris on your tyres can affect your brake as well, and entry into that corner, but he manages it well, and up into P4. The gap's too far ahead with P3, so Chaza should be cemented into P3 then. And Cameron Dow's 2 seasons ago, he was fighting for the lead of this race at the Imola Grand Prix against, I think it was Jeroen or Pease at the time, and he lost it, I think, towards the final latter of this race, because he was first, and obviously being first in the DRS train in the last few laps does not help whatsoever, especially with that long straight with DRS. But this time around, the strategy has completely changed. He's been the hunter ever since he pitted. And here we are, Cameron Dowsend, his second appearance in CRL this season. He won in Miami. This time around, he wins at the Imola Grand Prix. 2 in a row for the Scotsman. What a great drive. And Sweet Car finishes in P2. Humbolene takes the fastest lap. CPI Chaza keeping out of trouble as well. His 4th appearance here for Current Racing League. Will come across the line to finish P3. I was about to say win then. AMS Renz comes in P4, but he won't because ILT Julian doesn't have a penalty, so he will finish in P4. Kenny will finish in P6 there, and Nathan will finish in P7. Quite a long way behind too is Nathan, the other Nathan of Russell, in P8, which he won't really care about because he's way ahead of the championship. So I think the championship will go towards the next race if my mathematics are correct. I'm not quite sure because my maths are never correct these days, unfortunately. Humboledi's already crossed the line because he's right behind the leader as well on the last lap, and Bompia will not be classified because he didn't complete 90% of the race, so he will not finish in P10. So only 9 finishers in this race, and that's quite crazy around Imola. You don't expect a lot of incidents around here, Bunnies.
Yeah, no, that was a very chaotic race. I've never seen so few finishers at Imola, I don't think, especially coming from what was almost a full grid. So these guys, lots of contact, but that just shows just how hard they're racing. They're going for everything they can, and mistakes are so difficult to avoid. And people making mistakes right in front of you as well. It's difficult to avoid people when they make mistakes like that. You just run into them. It's a really difficult situation sometimes to avoid a driver who's stranded on the tracks in front of you. But it happens sometimes. So, and it happened a lot today.
Oh yeah, indeed, more than expected, and 2 safety cars and a few virtuals as well appeared, and maybe 3 safety cars, I lost count. But anyways, today was all about surviving, really, being on the right strategy at the right time. Sweet Car now had one driver, couldn't defend, one driver overtook him, which was the lead for the race, Cameron Dowds. So it was a great drive for P17 still. Gains a few points back on Russell, but it won't be enough. He needs a hell of a lot more in the next race. But I'm looking in the tier 1 chat now to see if Russell is the champion, because he's had a huge gap over Walton. And let's see if Russell is the champion or not. I don't think he is. There's one race left to go. You get 30 points for a race win. I'm trying to do some mathematics now. So the gap was 53 points, wasn't it, in the championship standings? Yeah, 53 points. Yeah. So 50 take away 30 is 23. Plus Russell finished in P8. How many points is that? 8. Yeah, he's the champion, isn't he?
No idea, honestly. I can't do math either.
Yeah, neither can I. I don't want to embarrass myself on stream just in case, but if he is, I'm going to put it in the chat right now to see if Russell is the champion. But Bunnies, have you enjoyed this race, mate?
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's really, really been so much fun. I'm really glad to have gotten an opportunity to do this commentary. It's been a fantastic race. Really great driving all around, especially from those top 2. Lots of chaos and lots of great overtaking. These drivers are so skilled. I can't say I'm half as good as anybody on this grid. So it's really always a pleasure to get to see these guys racing at their hardest.
Yeah, unfortunately, you only saw 9 finishers, so hopefully it'll be better next time, because 9 people finishing at a top tier is never a good sign. So, yeah, hopefully if you are coming back anytime soon, it'll be better, the racing standards for you, Bunnies.
Hopefully, but, it at least caused a very entertaining race. I hope all the spectators enjoyed it just as much as I did, because that was really, really quite exciting to watch, and just, yeah, that was something else, really. I don't think I've ever raced in a race that had quite that much action throughout the entire race, especially not at this kind of a level.
Yeah, our first time commentating together went really well as well, to be honest. We were working well with each other the first time.
Yeah, I hope I get more opportunities to commentate with you, because that was a really entertaining race, and it went great with the commentary. I think we work well together.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Been a pleasure as well. So we're inviting Russell for a podium interview. Okay with that, Bunnies? So I've invited Cameron Dowds and George Russell as well. I was thinking about Cameron's dad. That's why I said James.
No worries.
Let's see if those two are joining. Cameron Dowds starts a party in another party, but I have tagged him, and he's usually up for a chat. Is the Scotsman. I'll give him a few minutes. Usually I do start a party in the tier 1, but for some reason I haven't been doing it so far, so need to remember because it's a lot easier for us to talk in them parties.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I have an interview question for you in the meantime, then.
Oh, I'm being interviewed, let's go.
Driver of the day.
I've got to give it to Cameron Dowds. He came from a long way back, and Sweet Crown, he's done a fantastic job. Oh, I don't know, you know, that's an interesting one. I want to give it to Chazza, Cameron, Sweet Crown. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yep, a very impressive drive from all of them. Any particular moment of the race for you?
Good question, actually. In terms of moments, the crashing now at Acromenarale, Cameron Dowd storming through the field from a long way back too, Sweet Crown coming from P17 to P2 and keeping out of trouble. He's always keeping out of trouble somehow with Sweet Crown. I don't know how he's doing it, but it's he's a good question, you know. Put me on the spot immediately. I'm trying to find the showroom. There we go. Cameron Dowd should be joining us. His dad told him that his interview is on, so I'm not quite sure what's taking him a while. Why is he inviting me?
He's invited me as well.
Cameron, join this party, mate. Do you know what? Should we join this party? Fucking hell, can we make it hard? Cameron Dowds, mate. Your second appearance here in Cone. Congratulations on your second win as well. How was it out there? Did you, when you pitted onto those medium compound tyres, did you expect all to bring that gap down? Didn't throughout when at the start of the race we expected you room viz on your tail the whole time because you two had a great battle at the Miami Grand Prix. And also when it comes to safety cars as well, is it hard to make decisions because you're having track position and anything you do could cost you hugely? So did you know what you were doing at the time when you pitted on the mediums? Did you think that was the right strategy called? And also, were you worried about tyres towards the end because you took those medium compound tyres quite a long way too? Yeah, I expected it to be as well. So, towards the last race of the season, which I think is in Sao Paulo, could you do 3 wins in a row? Do you think that'd be on? And also, next season, are you thinking about joining in CRL full time? You could really give a driver a run for their money next season if you do join. Isakush. You're doing it proud, mate, because the Miami Grand Prix between you and your room was incredible. No podium interviews last time because I had to go off immediately. But at the Miami Grand Prix, let's talk about that as you're the only driver in the podium interview, so I can take as much time as I want to. talk about Miami because yeah, you and Jeroen, Cameron's your dad's saying there's no sound. Did you put your mic to be shared? Your voice to be shared? Give it a double check, please.
Yeah, I just checked the audio myself, and Indigo, you can be heard, but no, Cameron doesn't appear to be able to.
Yeah, Cameron, if you go in your player settings, mate, and just check to voice be shared. I don't know what it's like on PS5 because I don't own one, but I will do soon.
Right, that's it on now.
I don't know. Should we talk about the race again? Give us your point of view throughout the whole race in Imola.
Yeah, it was a good race. I thought at the start it would just be me and your own racing each other, but then all those safety cars and then your own having a bit of an incident was stop that. And then yeah, I don't think I had the right strategy, but it made it a bit funny. And then it was just about trying to catch Sweet Crown towards the end. I didn't know if I would, but luckily his tires went off quite badly, and then my mediums were still alright. And yeah, I managed to pass him and then just the grip to travel and get the DRS as quickly as possible.
When you pitted for those being compound tires, apologies about the coughing. When you pitted for the being compound tires, did you think you could take them towards the end? Did you think you can close that deficit down towards the others?
I didn't know if they go to the end, and I didn't know if I'd be able to catch the gap. I don't think I'd done the strategy, but I still don't think I did. I think it made it harder, but I managed to pull it off anyway, so it was alright.
You didn't pit during the first safety car, did you?
Don't think so, no.
So when you talk about the right strategy, what tyres do you think you should have gone on? Because you couldn't have gone on the hard compound tyres game because you started on them.
Well, a lot of people they went on to like softs and then back onto hards during a safety car, which I'm not sure if I should have done. But maybe the strategy with I put it on the VSC was alright, I guess. But in hindsight, what I should have actually done was picked harder compound before the race started, like in the game, and then I would have had like 2 sets of mediums. I would have made it a bit easy. No, 2 sets of
Hards.
yeah, 2 sets of hards, and that would have made it easier.
Yeah, in hindsight you could say that, but in real life, in reality, you actually won the Grand Prix, so even though you've won, you still got some constructive criticism to give to yourself as well, so what are you expecting at Sao Paulo, mate? Are you strong at that track?
I've not actually driven Brazil in this game, but I'll find out next week.
You'll find out next week, indeed. I don't think I've driven it either, to be honest with you, even though it was one of my favourite tracks in the last few games, really did well on it, so... Bunnies, you got any questions to ask for Cameron?
Yeah, I do just have one quick one. Just you know, that entire end of the race was spent, you know, chasing down drivers and overtaking them. How does your mentality change, like when you're getting to the point of, you know, going from, you know, fighting through the field to now you're making the overtake for the win? Does your mentality change at all? Do you have to be more careful or more daring, or how does that change when you get to the last man on the charge?
It doesn't really change anything for me. I usually try and overtake them all the same way, and then maybe I'm more like risky and pushy with it, just because I want to get the move done. But yeah, it definitely doesn't make me more careful. If anything, it'll just push me to be a bit risky, and that's to try and get the move done.
Fair enough, mate, and yes, I think that's it from you. Congratulations once again, and we head to Brazil. The last race this season, can Cameron Downs make it 3 in a row? George Russell has wrapped up the championship. Congratulations, our new champion for CRL, and it was going to be Wild to could have won his 3rd championship, but obviously qualifying ban, well, him disqualifying himself in qualifying was the main reasons this season, and he could have, he could have easily fought against George Russell, but he took it the other way around. But yeah, the season's almost done. One more race to go at Sao Paulo, and I'll say massive thank you for Bunnies for stepping in as well, commentating for the first time with me for Tier 1.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. Been a great commentator from you, and we'll see you all next Thursday at 8 o'clock for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Last race of the season. Can't wait for it. We'll see you all then.